All right, guys, welcome back to the Black History Month book tour, part 9. Today we're going to be talking about Rosa Parks' My Story, written in 1992. First, a little housekeeping. There will be no video, unfortunately, for Maya Angelou's I Know the Caged Bird Sings. Felt like some of the themes would be a little bit repetitive, but still a phenomenal book. One of the best Black autobiographies ever, and I highly suggest you guys come down to the store to pick up a copy. First, we're going to talk about the Jim Crow 1950s and the kind of broader civil rights and Black power movements that are going on at the time. So first, two things I want to hit on, two major dominoes leading up to the 1955 Montgomery Bus Boycott that really kind of turned the tide of the civil rights movement in the favor of Black activists. Number one was Executive Order 9981, which was an executive order in 1947 passed by Harriet Truman, which desegregated the United States military completely. Secondly, Brown versus the Board of Education. We've all heard of this, 1954. It overturns Plessy. Separate but equal is no longer constitutional. In fact, it's unconstitutional. Segregation is not about, quote unquote, separate but equal, but it's really an institutional scheme to create a hierarchy of power, access, and citizenship in pretty much every aspect of American life. And the court finds that argument very compelling. They rule in the favor of the NAACP, which ends segregation among public schools in the United States. What is the Montgomery Bus Boycott? Well, it's 1955. It's Montgomery, Alabama. And to ride the bus in Montgomery in the early 50s was extremely discriminatory and racist. So to challenge this bus system, the local NAACP had been looking for a test case for a while to see, if whoever the test case would be, they could kind of use that as leverage and legal maneuvering to demand that this system change. And this is where Rosa comes in. So who is Rosa Parks? She sat in the front. When a white passenger boarded the bus, she refused to move to the back of the bus and was promptly arrested, as we all know and have been taught in school. But there's a lot more to that than meets the eye. She was born in Tuskegee, Alabama in 1913, and she explains that she and her family had really been fighting the good fight for her whole life. She points out early in her life, her father and her grandfather were always armed and ready to protect the family and protect the family home from any kind of white mob or vigilante violence. Rosa would go on to work for numerous social justice organizations, most notably NAACP, where Rosa was named secretary of the Montgomery NAACP chapter in 1943. So it's important to point out, she gets arrested in 1955, but she's been doing this work with her local NAACP chapter for 12 years to that point, right? This was decades in the making. The power of collective action and Rosa's commitment to activism really inspired countless others to do the same. Now we will explore white violence towards brave Black activists in our next episode. For today, that's going to be all, and tune in for the next episode. Have a good one, guys.